here are ready to shine together. Tune in to KBC and let's cheer. When Harambee Stars win Kenya, all
kila siku
tumezishia
kuda watoto wafu
ukakuja hakuna kulala ngapi taisha could you please substance kwa nani kiti ya nani
Very well. Joining us, Kenya majority without back. That's the cost up. Yeah. In 13 parts. This has of the consult all contribute of the Kenya in this house, and you manage right all guided gentlemen. Final Kenya here on the of here tonight.
Asante.
And the man in the middle is Ochong. He's an architect, also with the Board of Registration. Professional of how and that's why for you to and before list and services to surveyors. From where you sit or from where you stand as an architect, is the cost of construction in Kenya high compared to our peers? And our peers would be like Egypt, Morocco.
Peers, when you look at South Africa, our cost of construction is considerable. On the other hand, if you look at immediately around our region, our cost of construction is lower, though, yeah, it's been bridging over the past. Our cost of construction is.
Why is it high? And their economies are more diversified. They are, we yeah. So why is it high?
With each their construction, one is cost of power. Yes, yes, their cost of lower than that. Then, of course, in going with that is cost. If you're not aware, the biggest cost in producing cement. So their cost of cement. So just as a follows from that of cement, we all know that more like half of it are levies that are not really the power that we need to start cost. You find construction, which is most of the works. Again, cost in Egypt is cheaper than in Kenya. So fundamental costs that get into construction is our costs amongst our peers.
Longer, do you agree, architect? And I'm asking this because you're the man in charge of controlling the cost in any project. Mentioned
let me comment on that. Is actual in terms of cost being the cost of energy. If as pricey as one of the benefits low, and that has made construction a bit of. Also speaks to production that are cheap in for example, if you go to and there are many companies that are construction institutes successfully. Why? Because back to the labor, it's cheap, and then our not rehabilitation. So people go quite well done. No one takes that to be on the cost. It's going up, and that Ochong is talking about, which in more than you look at overall input in materials for construction is about 50% of it. It doesn't help the situation.
Also talked about labor. What else? Cost of land.
And of focus cost of materials, which
taxation.
Another is also cost, which native. Perhaps if you before you have to pay county governments and other. I mean, for it's necessary. Set your back.
I want
I think perhaps the way I'd like to look at this is the appropriateness of the design. Not the design cost of what, but the importance of a proper design in terms of being able to achieve what you want. So I think that we need to address separately.
because there are designs that are costlier than the others.
Definitely.
System.
Is more costlier. It's about what do you need as performance are you requiring? Because there are also other items. A house is not just a place where you stay. It's a body. It's also emotional. So as we're talking about balance those and get.
Very well. So I want us to go through one, and you're going to help us understand what component of cost do how can both. So power constitutes action. So let's, for example, say a house in where you put up
Today,
Kitagala will cost
in 5 and 10. Exactly.
and you the 8M. You have 8M for
it's not an aspect of power. Of power to a lot of your basics.
the cement.
Yes. So if power were lower, then you may find that you're essentially the price. So construction, the power is more input into the
in the production.
in the production
not in
of
the
the construction itself. Yes.
What can we do about we should do?
Okay. A big point, which is maybe not, but 20%. Yeah.
Actually, give you energy generation renewable. Solar, have hydro and wind. Then I think those are the those are the 5
Yes,
main
ones.
Yes.
with geothermal being
Yes.
the capacity is 1,000. From the 6 use supply pack. So for in this part of into this more
for people we know of a company setting up solar farms, using substantial in their power solar farms. So area that I don't has been as forceful, that I think offers thing about solar. It can be done in bigger scale.
Yeah.
So that if there was encouragement, really help us in terms of our costs due to power.
So the government needs to become more aggressive in more by tap solar. Haven't even said is government now down and around 1,000 meg for Kenya. Cost of 30 down a considerable construction in Kenya. We know
Been hearing about power that are not very fair.
Oh yes.
yeah.
Generally, yeah, there are many standby diesel which are paid if they produce power or not. Yeah, maybe there's a time when they were needed. We don't need them now, but it's a cost, that idle capacity.
Yeah.
So those power need to be relooked at in light of lowering the
And we have seen from government to the National Assembly, all of them these PPAs, eh?
Yeah.
But had whether they were or what agree with the government to how we can bring.
I'll add something on project where we had a private institution, a solar plant to manage, and in terms of biggest cost normally is storage. This institution was seeking to, can there be net metering so that when they put it on, yeah, and then get it back, which is something that is in Europe, where it's the same price, the same. You find that when you're putting it in, I don't recall the exact, more than 3 buy it back. So they can, so that more people then are in to put power into the process.
And the other thing here is that sound vandalism and if that was by this area, so this government to do something.
That's right.
Let's look at transport. What are we talking about? Look at the last 10 years. Major infrastructural projects, have come up in this country. We didn't. Now we have a Laba. We didn't have. Now we have. They have. It's going. Vote. Yes. The government. 3 shillings. Structural problem. Why is Kenya?
Yes, in terms of infrastructure projects, we right now I can go for a project in May, live in the morning and come back and look here. I mean, a while back it would take. In terms of that, I think in terms of being able to open up movement, what we had many years back, probably what we treated was the 10 years. But then, what then coming back to the cost of construction is the cost of transport. Yeah, the cost. Yeah, doing a project kilometers away, and we could get
so like Nanyuki.
Yes. Though in Nanyuki, so we were getting by 100 kilometers from there. Now we bought the stone. By the time the stone landed, per piece, per foot, they do it per foot. 200 to 250. That stone was 80 shillings.
80. Almost. Wow. Is it because of the cost?
The cost of servicing that.
Is it that high? So why would it be expensive to service that lorry? Infrastructure is good.
Because which as bringing in the lorry cost this person the loan to back to issues of and the recipe servicing needs to the lorry has.
So the role for the and as well as or Kenyans.
Yes.
So what is the role of the government here is to is in fuel.
Yes.
So that will be cheaper.
Yes.
Impact
Yes.
on the cost of fuel.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
When it comes to servicing loan, how can the government help?
I think the loan for the vehicles?
For the vehicles.
Of course, even that. One of the ways corporations that can support business. For example, the government was able to have an institute to be able to finance. Now that you're talking about commercial banks, then it's because servicing alone. That's why you'll see all the newspaper being working. That's rate. It's not supporting the, and that has a thing. I mean, if one man can imagine done if the fuel level, then it be reasonable. These other costs, this production of material, that which is these materials that can be at the same, and again the finished looks. So any other factor. These
But
costs.
help us understood.
actually go up. Really, it's supply and supply and demand.
Even in,
Yes.
let's say, by bill, yes, I mean next
Week. You'll be given
week.
when you'll be given Friday. Price is valid. If you go back,
that production,
Maybe let me. No, almost importing everything. Still, we are importing. So what does that
so
mean?
we import iron ore.
Own. So we can't. Wherever there's a market. So whenever these producers trend going up, restock will be. So they will restock because we are not
Cement.
and to come up to iron ore plant.
yes.
Have helped in Inca,
Yeah.
that which
A lot of it from
again market
Yeah.
if would have been more, and it's not their fault to close the shop and these fluctuations.
so to address that.
Control. That's
And this is by digging up the
yes.
even
Yes.
there is a in Mui Basin by drastically production. Been talking about remain issues. The conversation when you they industrialize.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Is still Aaron had explained the things that's mitigating our costs. Our labor is still fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if I can chip in a bit about labor. Thanks to our polytechnics and all these institutions that we've been having for a long time, our education is very good. Questions that historic training, and we have a good pool of labor, almost like unlimited, the high rates of unemployment. About unemployment, they say, yeah.
Employment gives us a high number of unskilled. It's also
But they,
right.
because of unemployment, some of those people they're graduates, the people you find on site, so they're very sharp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that sustainable it is. You can see what is happening. Because some will do it as you educate.
Can't do a Michenko.
Yeah. Unfortunately, suffering. So, yet Masons were the most respected people. But nowadays,
of Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you recall the earlier days in Kenya, we had programs, especially for the middle skill. Now, we have a lot of people who learned on the job, but then we don't have a lot of people who are skilled. Yeah, a lot of the plumbers, you 3 or 4 months, yes, but a proper plumber would go for 3, yeah, and that, and think to become a some of the institutions that were doing this, that into universities, TVETs that are. So I think is also to technical training courses. Not many of go for a course for 3 license and start the job.
And chip in a bit. I think it's yesterday where there was it's called there is a trade with World Bank. I've been involved a bit on because what is as talked about working paper to show do it. Program is targeting such Douglas for 6 years. Give you a guideline 3 so that the areas program to give you have a certificate opportunities you have, and again that help you improve again in the sectors. Let me talk about what I with master. What to do it is unskilled apprenticeship. The long days help at a lot. They are learning technique where you have that. The government is also doing something positive. That is positive.
Let's look at loss of time.
Yes.
Of course, in Kenya is very in construction. I read somewhere that an acre of land in is more expensive than the same. Giving an example, for example, where an acre of land a big, okay, and they were saying most part of New York would not cost you, I mean, that amount of money. And so, about land, and land is very expensive in Kenya.
The reason land is expensive in certain, in terms of piece of land, unfortunately, areas where develop this to school facility areas, so that is that areas expensive. You'll the land than the land in watch with infrastructure support, the ways is it's infrastructure. No focused makes that land.
It's that, but our land policy, I think, needs to be
in policy.
We're going to generally that other committee is from Machakos, from Green Park, and all this.
And there's also
so infrastructure, one of the be driven issue for residential, for that and go there. It's very expensive, the cost of land or around that. It's because area and if Nairobi was designed and if they see was there supply dwelling space, it's put down at then it would help.
And issue that we and approve.
Approvals, one is the not just the cost of it. You have to deal with. You have
so
to
start with national construction of
local with Ministry of Lands in terms of land rent. National environment. Sometimes you have to deal with ministry. There are very many. And right now you find that house in the village, you require those. So
take that follow
was not just what you pay. Yeah? The cost of you getting the 5%. You swallowed it. Approval cost.
But maybe
can even go out.
Some around
when he says
and then I will come back and call. I mean, we are the company of and the to do this are
katika Kurani huwa tashane kwani waumini. Hadithi tueneze haya moja. Tunatia kukumbushana, tunakuletea ina Optifat funzo haba sifu amnami tuma saa 9 channel 1.
Voria, the KBC sports. We are ready 2024. Show the patriotism and our. It is nations in Nairobi and the world deal of 4. Time to shine. Let us make chant our team Haram tag.
It is a major issue. It is and official it's a lot of work.
Just before about the cost approval fees that you pay, that goes into you getting that approval. It starts right from the parking fees and the many gatekeepers. Your
Hands.
gatekeepers. Yeah.
Gatekeepers, eh?
Yeah, because unless you pay them, you cannot move. The next stage, and it's a reality. So then, made this process that a lot of done away with. I mean, if instead to go and see annually approved, also saved on the field for going there. So the yeah, it's a system that I think has been tried here in Nairobi. I think to me, I think it has not by the people who so.
Well, let's move. Talked about taxation.
Very heavy taxation put put on it, because it's one of the easiest ways for government to get money. They, of course, the end product, which now without that can be used to encourage, especially producing or building the developer. In an attempt, I don't know how successful. If you are doing affordable, then there are some tax that would to that space. However, if it has to be impactful and sure enough, government can be more deliberate on that. Incentives for development are huge enough for these developers to be affordable space.
Very well. National cost.
What it should be or what it is?
Should be.
Okay. Roughly it should be for the entire team. Of course, the team, it's not, but also you need structural
engineers, architect.
Percent. That's about 1.2 for 10 million.
I'll be quick to add that the value you, if you choose than the 1.2 that
You think you're saving the 1.2?
end up losing it.
You end up losing it.
Because before we started off, there are people efficient. So they them somewhere else. You know your needs were different. A design is two, and what are your needs? Number two, what structure? If you don't engage, and it happens without yet higher than the fees, what you should have spent, same result.
Talked about
to that. I think Aaron has alluded. If you want to put up a house as Brian, what do you want to achieve? What level of performance as Brian? When you want to do that, you look at your parents, yeah. But what on things a perfect I come from, we'd say, yeah, I'm putting up a house. I mean, a house, yeah, for to come in, or for the rest of our last time of our less than 10 times up at Kempinski. We never issues of that expertise that you imagining.
When they're also putting up, let me call it a structure for their. Is it advisable?
That go to a lot of buildings where they up those. Very few of them are used. Again, this is coming from the income. You don't need it. To know your car, but no car is evening. So why you? That's
maybe. Oh, is because
Exactly.
you know, in most
Find your car covered.
park it inside.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
and expect to have snow in Nairobi. Wow. We wind up of the design.
That's what I was talking about. You're designing for so not what you saw. You in this house so many years. My children are, and this is the expect house. Then come up. You're not putting up something or what you need that the house. It's important to find this with the right expertise once for your life. They can help over. Is their brand too? Yeah.
Well, because of this conversation, seconds each, an advice to somebody that is watching us and their plan will start.
Perspective majorly, things that you need at one of the building, things that you don't costs that cost that look at just those are very life cycle, of course, because that influences. You buy the land after movements and all that, but not to the home, to the government. I would urge the government infrastructure, the develop their houses to because of its as a mass.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah. From building, your building, one of building costs go up is waste on site. Cement. You find the people. So you buy. Then you find into the soil. It builds pilfering. This material. So to wishing they call go to push where the other
Quickly.
the tweet.
Yeah. Sorry, we have to break because it's coming up. Thank you very much. You have been watching tonight from the. Thank you.